Officer Jake Carter was known around the precinct as the young cop with a heart of gold. At just 25, he had already made a name for himself not only through his dedication to law enforcement, but also through his genuine desire to uplift those in his community. Growing up in a modest neighborhood, Jake witnessed firsthand the struggles that many families faced. His father had been a firefighter, and his mother worked long hours as a nurse. Their resilience inspired him deeply. From an early age, Jake dreamed of making a difference, believing that every person, regardless of their circumstances, deserved compassion and respect. Jake's journey into policing came after he graduated from the local university with a degree in criminal justice. He was driven by more than just a quest for justice. He wanted to be an advocate for those often overlooked by society. It was this passion that led him to enroll in a police academy right after college. While some of his peers sought glory through high-profile arrests, Jake took pride in connecting with people on a human level, believing that understanding their stories could lead to real change. On patrol, Jake often ventured beyond the standard expectations of his role. Instead of merely responding to calls, he would spend time walking through neighborhoods, engaging with residents, and establishing rapport. He remembered each person's name and their struggles, whether it was job loss or health issues. This approach earned him the trust of the community and helped bridge the gap between law enforcement and civilians. His commitment was unwavering. Late-night shifts were not merely job obligations but opportunities to help those who needed support most. With a warm smile and empathetic ear, he became a beacon of hope for many, especially among vulnerable populations like veterans who often felt invisible in their own hometowns. It was during one of these evening patrols that Jake's path crossed with a veteran named Tom, a meeting that would spark an unexpected chain reaction in both their lives. Little did Jake know that this encounter would lead to something much larger than himself and resonate throughout the community he loved so dearly. One chilly evening while patrolling a neglected neighborhood known for its struggling residents, Officer Jake Carter spotted a figure huddled beneath a fraying blanket on a park bench. As he cautiously approached, he could see the weathered face of a man who looked to be in his 50s, marked by years of hardship and weariness. The faint glow of the streetlight illuminated the veteran's tattered military jacket, which barely hung onto his gaunt frame. Jake felt his heart tugged at the sight. This man was a soldier who had fought for their country, yet here he was, homeless and alone. "Hey there, sir," Jake greeted warmly, lowering his voice to convey empathy. The veteran looked up, suspicion flickering in his tired eyes before softening as he recognized the young cop's genuine demeanor. "My name is Officer Carter. Are you okay? Can I help you with anything?" Tom, as Jake soon learned he was called, hesitated before responding. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke about the struggles that had brought him to this point. Loss of employment after returning from service, battles with PTSD that made it hard to reintegrate into civilian life, and feelings of isolation that gnawed at his spirit. With every word Tom shared, Jake felt a profound sense of responsibility wash over him. This was not just another duty call. It was an opportunity to connect on a deeper level. Jake listened intently as Tom recounted his experiences with mental health challenges compounded by financial burdens. It broke Jake's heart to hear how society's indifference had made Tom feel invisible. Too often people simply crossed streets or avoided eye contact altogether rather than acknowledge his presence. An emotional wave surged through Jake. Here was someone brave who had served their nation but now felt abandoned. Determined to do more than simply take notes on a form or call for backup assistance, Jake decided right then that he would not let Tom's story end with despair. Instead, he would dedicate himself to helping this veteran regain hope and dignity. A small gesture turned into a promise. Jake would connect Tom with resources and services available for veterans like him. In that park under the dim streetlight, an unexpected bond began to form between officer and veteran, marking the start of a journey neither could have anticipated. As the evening air grew colder, Officer Jake Carter remained seated on the park bench beside Tom, allowing the veteran to share more of his story. He realized that listening was just as important as any action he could take. With each word that flowed from Tom's lips, Jake sensed the weight of unspoken burdens and unhealed wounds. The way Tom described his time in service, the camaraderie, the purpose, was filled with pride, but it quickly gave way to sorrow as he recounted the struggles he faced upon returning home. "People don't understand what we go through," Tom said, his voice barely above a whisper. "They see a uniform and think they know you, but it's not that simple." Jake nodded, encouraging him to continue. This was not just about providing immediate help. It was about establishing trust in a relationship that had been fractured by years of neglect and hardship. Over the next few days, Jake made a point to stop by the park during his shifts, often bringing along coffee or snacks. Each visit became a routine where they would sit together and talk. Jake learned about Tom's family, how he had lost contact with them after his struggles escalated, and about the dreams he once had of becoming a mechanic. These moments were more than casual conversations. They were building blocks for trust. Jake also took this opportunity to gently introduce Tom to available resources for veterans. He spoke about local shelters, mental health services, and job training programs tailored specifically for those who had served. Tom listened, hesitant yet hopeful, as Jake detailed how these programs could help him rebuild his life. One afternoon, as they shared stories over cups of steaming coffee, Jake offered to help Tom fill out applications for housing assistance and job training programs. "You don't have to do this alone," he said firmly, looking Tom in the eye. "I'm here for you." Tom's expression shifted from skepticism to gratitude. It was evident he had begun to trust this young officer who had consistently shown up without judgment or expectation. In those moments of connection, the seeds of hope began to take root in Tom's heart, reigniting a sense of agency he thought lost forever. The bond between them grew stronger with each encounter, creating a foundation of support that neither man had anticipated, but both desperately needed. With their bond solidifying, Officer Jake Carter felt a growing sense of urgency to take actionable steps in helping Tom. During one of their conversations, as they sat on the park bench sipping warm coffee, Jake saw the flicker of hope in Tom's eyes. It was clear that this was a moment of potential transformation, and Jake realized he needed to act before that flicker faded away. The next day, armed with a list of local shelters and veteran services, Jake approached Tom with determination. "I know you've been feeling stuck," he began gently, "but I've done some research, and there are resources we can tap into together." He explained the available options. A nearby shelter that offered not only housing but also assistance in finding work, and a mental health center specializing in care for veterans suffering from PTSD. Tom listened intently, his expression shifting between skepticism and curiosity. "Do you really think they'll help me?" he asked hesitantly. Jake nodded firmly, his belief in Tom's potential unwavering. "Absolutely. They want to help people like you who have served our country. Let's give it a shot." Jake made arrangements to accompany Tom to the shelter the very next day. He understood that taking this first step would be daunting for someone who had lived on the streets for so long. As they walked towards the shelter, Jake encouraged Tom, reminding him how brave he was for facing his fears and seeking help. Upon arriving at the shelter, Jake introduced Tom to the staff members who were eager to assist him. He stayed by Tom's side during each step of the intake process, filling out forms and asking questions. As it became evident how uncomfortable Tom was in this unfamiliar environment, seeing the overwhelming emotions wash over Tom was difficult for Jake, but he remained steadfastly supportive. Afterward, as they exited into the fresh air, a sense of relief washed over them both. "You did great today," Jake said with a smile, placing a reassuring hand on Tom's shoulder. "This is just the beginning." As days turned into weeks following their initial visit to the shelter, Jake continued to support Tom's journey, checking in regularly and ensuring he took full advantage of job training programs now available to him. Each small victory they celebrated side by side further cemented their relationship and highlighted what could happen when someone truly cared enough to take action. This partnership blossomed into something transformative, not just for Tom but for Officer Carter as well. Together they created ripples of change within their community as hope flourished where it once seemed impossible. As word of Officer Jake Carter's compassionate efforts began to spread through the community, the impact of his actions resonated far beyond his initial intentions. Local residents, witnessing the change in Tom's demeanor and newfound hope, started sharing stories on social media and in local cafes. Posts highlighting Jake's kindness and dedication caught the attention of various veterans organizations and military groups, who were inspired by the remarkable bond forming between the officer and the veteran. Within days, a grassroots movement emerged, fueled by gratitude and a desire to support not only Tom, but also Jake for his unwavering commitment. Veterans from all walks of life reached out to express their appreciation, eager to organize a community rally to honor both men. They envisioned an event that would not only celebrate their connection, but also raise awareness about the challenges many veterans face after returning home. The excitement built as local businesses offered to sponsor the event, providing food, drinks, and spaces where everyone could gather. Flyers were distributed across town, inviting community members to come out in support of veterans and to show solidarity for those like Tom who had endured hardships. News outlets picked up the story, highlighting how one act of kindness had sparked a wave of camaraderie and communal responsibility. On the day of the rally, the atmosphere was electric. Veterans in uniform marched alongside civilians, creating a striking display of unity. Banners reading, "Support our veterans," adorned the park where they had first met, transforming it into a vibrant venue filled with laughter, music, and shared stories of resilience. Jake stood somewhat overwhelmed but proud as he watched Tom engage with others who had faced similar struggles. The look of joy on Tom's face was priceless. It was as if he had been welcomed back into a community that had once felt distant and uninviting. Speakers from various organizations took turns addressing the crowd, lauding Jake for his selflessness and calling attention to resources available for those in need. As the day unfolded, it became clear that this rally was more than just a celebration. It was a movement, a reminder that kindness could ripple through a community and lead to lasting change. The unexpected outpouring of support for both Jake and Tom showcased how one young cop's determination to help had ignited not just hope in an individual, but also a collective commitment to uplift all veterans struggling in silence. In this moment, they all stood together, a testament to resilience, compassion, and the power of human connection. The morning sun rose brightly the day after the rally, casting a warm glow over the park where Officer Jake Carter and Tom had first forged their connection. As Jake arrived for his shift, he was met with an unexpected sight. A sea of military personnel in uniform gathering at the entrance of the park. Veterans, active duty soldiers, and local service members from various branches stood together, all drawn by the news of Jake's compassionate actions toward Tom. Jake felt a mix of emotions, pride, gratitude, and a hint of anxiety as he approached the gathering. He had not anticipated such a large response. It was humbling to see so many individuals who had dedicated their lives to serving their country now standing in solidarity for one of their own. The atmosphere was charged with excitement and camaraderie as veterans exchanged stories and shared laughter while waiting for the event to begin. As Tom arrived shortly after, Jake could see the confusion on his face morph into awe as he witnessed the crowd. "Is all this for me?" Tom asked quietly, disbelief etched across his features. Jake smiled, nodding. "It's for you and everyone else who has faced similar struggles. You're not alone anymore." Military personnel began to organize themselves into formation, lining up on either side of the park path like guardians ready to honor one of their own. The sound of boots on the ground reverberated through the air as they prepared to welcome Tom with respect and appreciation. The sense of unity among them was palpable. It was evident they all understood the battles that veterans often faced. Jake stood beside Tom as they watched fellow service members step forward to address the gathering crowd. Each speaker recounted their own experiences with hardship after returning home and expressed admiration for both Tom's bravery and Jake's dedication to helping him regain his footing. Their words resonated deeply, creating an emotional tapestry that bound everyone present together. In that moment, Jake felt a profound sense of purpose wash over him. He realized that this gathering was more than just an acknowledgement of one man's journey. It was a celebration of resilience, hope, and community support for all veterans. As Tom absorbed the outpouring of gratitude from those around him, tears glistened in his eyes, a mixture of joy and disbelief at how far he had come since meeting Jake. Together, they stood amidst a unified front, military personnel honoring one another, while simultaneously demonstrating the power of compassion that could uplift even those who felt lost. It was a day that would be etched into their memories forever, a testament to healing and new beginnings sparked by one young cop's unwavering commitment to doing what was right. The rally not only honored Tom but also catalyzed a broader conversation within the community about the pressing issues many veterans face, such as mental health challenges and homelessness. As community members gathered in support of their local heroes, the air buzzed with a sense of purpose and solidarity. Families, friends, and local leaders mingled, each sharing stories of their own encounters with veterans or struggles faced by loved ones who had served. Stalls were set up around the park, manned by various organizations focused on veteran support. Mental health professionals discussed available resources and offered workshops aimed at promoting emotional well-being among former service members. Flyers filled with information about counseling services, job training programs, and rehabilitation initiatives were distributed freely. Community members were encouraged to engage in open dialogues about the stigma surrounding mental health issues, challenging misconceptions and fostering understanding. As the day progressed, local politicians took the stage to address the crowd. They emphasized the importance of continued support for veterans, vowing to advocate for policies that would improve access to mental health services and housing assistance. Their words ignited passion in those present. It was evident that attendees wanted to see real change within their community. In one corner of the park, a group of veterans shared their personal experiences regarding the difficulties they faced upon returning home. Their candid discussions opened a space for emotions to flow freely, as they spoke about feelings of isolation and the struggle to reintegrate into civilian life. Listeners gathered around them, nodding in understanding and expressing gratitude for the veterans' bravery in sharing their stories. Tom stood among the crowd, watching as people rallied together in support not only for him but also for countless others like him. Tears welled in his eyes as he realized how far he had come since that first encounter with Jake. No longer did he feel like an outcast. He was part of a larger movement committed to raising awareness and facilitating change for those who served. The collective energy infused hope into the day, reminding everyone present that they had the power to make a difference. Conversations flowed effortlessly as new connections were made, reinforcing bonds between community members and veterans alike. This rally was more than just a celebration. It became a catalyst for ongoing dialogue about veteran care and a pledge that no one would be left behind again. By coming together in this way, the community demonstrated that solidarity could pave the way for healing. It was a powerful reminder that compassion is not only an individual act but a collective responsibility, a commitment to stand alongside those who have sacrificed so much for their country and ensure they receive the support they deserve. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the park, the emotional recognition ceremony began, drawing everyone together once more. Officer Jake Carter stood at the front of the gathering, flanked by Tom and local leaders, his heart racing with a mix of pride and humility. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Friends, family, veterans, and community members filled the park, coming together to honor not just Jake's actions but the spirit of compassion that had united them all. The ceremony was a celebration of hope and healing, reflecting how one act of kindness could ripple through a community. A local veteran took to the podium first, his voice steady yet filled with emotion as he shared how Jake's support had impacted not only Tom's life but also inspired countless others facing similar struggles. In a world where it can be easy to turn away, Jake chose to stand up for a fellow veteran, he said, his words resonating deeply with the crowd. He reminded us all that we are not alone. As Jake listened to the heartfelt testimonials, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. He had never sought recognition for his actions. Instead, he had acted out of a desire to help. Yet, here he was, receiving accolades from those whose lives had been touched by his small efforts. When it was finally his turn to speak, he approached the microphone with a sense of purpose. "Thank you all for being here today," Jake began, his voice slightly trembling with emotion. "But this isn't just about me. It's about Tom and every veteran who has fought for our freedom and now faces battles of a different kind. We need to continue standing together and ensuring that no one feels invisible or abandoned." The crowd erupted in applause, their appreciation filling the air like a warm embrace. Tom stood nearby, tears glistening in his eyes as he witnessed Jake's sincerity and humility. In that moment, he felt a profound sense of pride and belonging, knowing that their shared journey had inspired so many. Following Jake's speech, local officials presented him with a commendation recognizing his compassionate service. As they pinned the award onto his uniform, veterans in attendance saluted him with respect, their camaraderie palpable. The cheers echoed throughout the park, a testament to the bonds forged through shared experiences and understanding. As the ceremony concluded, people lingered in small groups, exchanging stories and connections sparked by Jake's efforts. Conversations flowed freely about how they could continue advocating for veterans' needs in their community. The sense of solidarity fostered by this event would carry on long after the last applause faded. This ceremony marked not only a significant moment for Jake, but also a collective commitment to support veterans and ensure they receive the care they deserve. A promise made by an entire community standing united in compassion and respect. Following Officer Jake Carter's intervention, Tom's life began to transform dramatically. With the support of community resources, his journey from despair to hope was nothing short of remarkable. Initially, Tom moved into the local shelter that Jake had recommended, a place that not only provided him with a safe haven, but also surrounded him with others who understood his struggles. The staff there embraced him with kindness and compassion, which played a crucial role in helping him regain a sense of dignity. As days turned into weeks, Tom took advantage of the mental health services offered through the shelter. He began attending therapy sessions where he could discuss his PTSD and the emotional scars from his time in service. Each session peeled back layers of pain that he had kept buried for so long, allowing him to confront feelings he thought he would always carry alone. The relief he felt after sharing his experiences was profound. It was as if a weight was slowly lifting off his shoulders. Additionally, Tom enrolled in job training programs designed specifically for veterans. With encouragement from both Jake and the program coordinators, he started honing skills in areas like construction and mechanics, fields that excited him and resonated with his past experiences. His passion reignited as he learned alongside fellow veterans who were also striving to rebuild their lives. The camaraderie formed in those classes became a new support network for Tom, providing not only friendship but understanding of shared challenges. Tom's transformation was evident in small but significant ways. He started setting personal goals, from maintaining a consistent routine to communicating more openly with family members with whom he had lost touch. He even began volunteering at local events geared toward supporting other veterans, eager to give back to the community that had lifted him amidst adversity. With each success, no matter how small, Tom's confidence grew. There were still difficult days, moments when memories threatened to engulf him once more. But now he had tools to cope and a community rallying behind him. The people who believed in him, including Jake, served as constant reminders that healing is possible. One sunny afternoon, Tom stood before a gathering at the park where they had first met and shared his story publicly for the first time. There was an overwhelming sense of pride swelling within him as he recounted not just his struggles but also his progress since meeting Jake. A moment when hope flickered back to life. As applause erupted around him, Tom realized that this journey was about more than just personal recovery. It was about inspiring others who might be facing similar battles. It was then that he understood the true impact of compassion. How one person's kindness could spark a transformation not only in himself but also potentially for many others still waiting for their chance to reclaim their lives. The journey that began with Officer Jake Carter's compassionate intervention had far-reaching implications, challenging prevailing perceptions of both law enforcement and veterans within the community. Through his actions, Jake showcased how a single act of kindness could ripple through society, transforming lives and fostering understanding in unexpected ways. The overwhelming support for Tom and the recognition of Jake's efforts served as a powerful reminder that empathy transcends barriers often erected by misunderstanding or fear. As community members rallied together to support veterans, they began to recognize the complexities these individuals face, challenges that often extend beyond their time in service. Mental health issues, unemployment, and homelessness, once relegated to whispered conversations, became focal points for discussion. The events surrounding Tom's transformation encouraged residents to engage more deeply with these issues, inspiring them to advocate for systemic changes that would benefit all veterans. Moreover, the rally and subsequent ceremonies broke down stereotypes surrounding law enforcement. Jake's dedication to helping Tom illustrated that police officers can be allies and advocates in their communities rather than merely enforcers of the law. This shift in perception paved the way for stronger relationships between community members and local law enforcement, encouraging collaborative efforts to address social issues like veteran care and mental health support. In the weeks following these events, community engagement surged as more people sought ways to contribute. Volunteer programs sprouted up around town, with residents stepping forward to assist veterans in their reintegration process. Workshops on mental health awareness and job training were organized, drawing in local businesses eager to provide opportunities for those who served. Tom's story became a symbol of hope and resilience, inspiring others who might have felt lost or forgotten. As he shared his experiences at community events, he emphasized the importance of connection, reminding everyone that support is crucial not only for healing but also for preventing isolation among veterans. His presence served as a testament to the strength found in vulnerability and the impact one individual can have on countless lives. Ultimately, this narrative extended beyond the personal triumphs of Jake and Tom. It transformed into a movement within the community to ensure that veterans would never again feel invisible or alone. The commitment to ongoing dialogue and action fostered a culture of compassion that resonated throughout schools, businesses, and local organizations. By standing together in solidarity, they created an enduring legacy, one that honored those who served while actively working toward a brighter future for all veterans and their families.